Ao Kuang, the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea. He appears in two main Chinese mythology stories, Fengxian Yin Yi and Journey of the West. The first of which he is depicted as an evil dragon king who brings chaos to the world with droughts, storms, and other such calamities. In the second story, Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, comes looking for a powerful weapon in Ao's palace. He takes the fabled weapon Ru Yi Jingu Bang, a golden ringed iron rod that has the ability to extend and change its size. He does this by somehow forcing the Dragon King into submission and also taking several other items of power. Now that the history story is over, let's actually jump into SMITE itself. The character of the Dragon King is a ranged mage class, meaning that it is a caster from afar and should normally not be getting into melee range unless you kinda have to. So let's go ahead and take a look at the abilities of the Dragon King, and then we will hop into looking at some items that you'll want to pick up for him. First, let's take his passive ability, Graceful Winds. This increases his magical power by 5% of his maximum mana. Ao's first activated ability is Squall. This fires a breath projectile in a straight line to a target, hitting the first person it comes in contact with, and then doing a splash AoE slowing effect on all targets around the target. Next we have Slither. This ability that Ao uses is a brief speed up and is used to either get out of harm's way or close the gap between him and fleeing enemies. It also gives you additional speed based on how many enemies are nearby you, up to a total of 6 enemies. And also if a player is nearby you, it will increase to its maximum speed potential. So let's talk about Tornado. This ability is a targeted one that you place a tornado on the ground and the enemies who run into it are dotted basically with a smaller tornado, and it causes the damage over time effect. If they happen to run back into the tornado, the dot is refreshed and the full duration is fairly deadly. This is a great ability that allows you to quickly pick off large groups of mobs and also clunked up enemies, if they're stupid enough to do so. Ao's ultimate ability is Spirit's Tempest. He summons an ancient dragon spirit that causes a ton of destruction in its path. Not only does it cause damage to opponents and slaughters creep, it also knocks enemies to the side, good for placing them, say, in Zeus's thunderstorm, which means, well, they're probably dead, which is always good for you. So let's discuss some tips about playing Ao a bit better for beginners. Let me note that I am not an expert player. I'm average or on par at best, but I do have a few things that I've kind of picked up on with this character. First, about the time when your opponent reaches level 5, you kinda want to watch out for their ultimate. And what I mean by this is you gonna want to watch your mana. It's not gonna benefit you any to blow all your mana later on and then not have any to use your sliver or tornadoes and stuff like that to help you escape. So do be wary of this, and if you need to, go ahead and hit your B button and port back to your base, because it's going to be overall more effective for you to be alive than dead going into mid and late game, and giving them extra money and EXP is never good for you. Number 2, when retreating, try to use your Squall ability to slow them down and then use Slither to get away. This will more or less increase your chances of getting away by another 25%, or is it 35? Close enough. And this will be good for you. In other terms of retreating, if you have people chasing you, try throwing your tornado down in front of you and going through it. This will cause low health players to either avoid it or just go ahead and fall back. Or if they're in that, ooh, we gotta kill him phase, they will run through it and most likely die, or allow you to turn around and quickly pop them, going ahead and finishing them off, which is good for you. Landing your Spirit Tempest can be a bit tricky, as it has a little bit of a delay before actually firing off. It also leaves a symbol on the ground, which I don't know if is only for you or if other people can see it, but this can make it a little bit more difficult if they can. If not, it doesn't really matter. So my recommendation for this is to be picky with it. If you see someone stunned and you know you got a second in order to pop it off and kill them, use it. If they're low health, don't waste it though. It's a very powerful attack capable of bringing someone from about half life to 0. So you're much better off using your Squall Blast or dropping tornadoes on them rather than trying to finish them with Tempest. Although it does have slightly longer range, so it's a little bit iffy. Also, other ways to use it are if people are trapped in a slow field, such as Anubis's Grasping Hands. I don't know if that's the actual name of it, but it's basically the content of what it does. Other ways to use it are to use it if they're trapped by, say, an ice wall. They're not going to be able to move out of it, and it's going to pretty much wipe them out. Or Odin's spear wall will also be a pretty good thing. Or if they just happen to be caught in the middle of a large group of AoE and stuff, it's kind of hard for people to see what you're about to do. So if you pop the move, then you'll be able to quickly knock them out. Also, if it comes between you dying and popping this ability, go ahead and use it even if it misses. That means that your enemy is either going to have to try to dodge it or they're going to take the hit, meaning they're not going to get the kill. And based on cooldown speeds currently, it's much better to use the ability and then die with it having a chance to save you than to not use the ability and just flat out die, because you're going to be dead longer than the cooldown of the ability. And in general, if they just happen to be trying to run from you through the jungle, or you catch them in the middle of fighting, say, Fire Giant, you will have a great advantage of using this, and most likely them not being able to get out of the way. Possibly also stealing kill on Fire Giant if you wipe their entire party out. Always a good thing. So, last thing we can talk about is items. For the most part, the recommended items are extremely good for you, and they do provide you the essential parts that you need to be a great AoE player. However, at the beginning of a match, if you've decided that you no longer want to use them and you want to branch out a little bit, here are just a few items that you might want to look into. Instead of picking up your normal boots, you might decide that you want to try out Midas boots. They give you your normal passive speed increase and a little bit of extra health and mana. And along with this, you get 10% extra EXP and gold increase. This will be good when combined with the passive gold and EXP increase, which is another 10%. On top of that, you could pick up at level 10 your respawn timer passive. This will allow for you to respawn much faster in later game, as right now you do tend to get a pretty hefty penalty against you. And lastly, as far as passives go, we have the passive speed increase, which will give you another 10% speed, which is always good for chasing people down or running away, because sometimes it is better to retreat. There's also mana pots. You might consider picking these up instead of health pots early in the game, so that it allows you to stay in lane longer and to be able to use your abilities to get away in a pinch. Maybe not the best, maybe it is, who knows. However, I think that it's a pretty good idea, and it's something I've started doing. Now lastly, before we jump into anything else, let's talk about just a kind of a random item that I like to play around with, which is a snowball item, as it's usually called in League of Legends, I do believe, which is basically an item that you have to stack up in order to get its maximum potential, but if you do, it's really good. And the item that we're going to talk about is the Doom Orb. The Doom Orb grants you 40 magical power, 20 mana, and 7 MP5. On top of this, it also gives you 2 points of magical power per stack, stacking up to 60 times. That is 120 magical power, which I do believe, but could be wrong, is the most out of any item in the game. Alrighty, and lastly we have a skin preview for Ao here. It's pretty nice. I definitely like it. I'm very much looking forward to the other skins that they're going to come out. I love dragons. Dragons are definitely one of the largest favorites of mine, I should say. And yeah, if you like this video, please make sure to rate it and to subscribe. I will be making more videos like this, and hopefully Hi-Rez will be liking them. I have been in contact with one of their employees, and he's told me to get back in touch with him when the videos are up, and he'll see what he can do. So, quite glad about that. Anyway, that's me done. I really do want to thank all of you, and encourage you all to have a wonderful day.